Hop in. Game number 2, Kasva versus Capoch. Capoch, this is his map choice. He takes the Lipany with a Civ that has historically looked pretty damn good here. But I'm going to warn you now, folks. Kasva means business. This is the boy at arms rush. The boy at arms rush that if he spots the gold and blocks Capoch out, the deli crumble in a matter of minutes.
I love this. Under 1 minute and we've got a barracks already out. I can't wait to see all the military running around. Like, they're still gathering sheep, but then you see here the metal clanking of a knight or a man-at-arms running across the field.
Now, the deli aren't completely disarmed by this straight away, in that they can build scholars. Like, they can actually go for Moss really early on, get every piece of gold goes into 1 or 2 scholars, and they head pat each other, because at the end of the day, the boy at arms, because they're little boys and we don't trust them with sharp swords, they get plastic swords. They're not exactly what you call threatening instantly. But what they can cover is a villager pool. Like, you rush man at arms out, you start clamping with your swords, keep them on defensive, and you sneak a villager in to place an outpost, and you block them out. That's the way I think Kaz is going to play this. If he does that, if we look at the lay of the land, we have to think about Capoch's reserves. Where's his second gold line? It's badly located to the east side. The east side, which is where Kasva should approach this between the 2 wood lines. If he moves in here and drops 1 outpost, yes, he blocks out both of the initial golds for the deli.
Oh, and that's going to hurt a lot for the deli, which can be, like, especially when they're building later end game units, just hurt a lot and not be able to age up. And even for your scholar production, while they're cheaper, you still need access to all the gold.
And this strategy is viable on maps that have stealth forest because it's harder to spot. I was having this discussion with Kasva. We were talking about when I was streaming about when he done it on the on high view, how good it is because of the lack of vision. Lipany's similar. The stealth forest allows you to sneak in, and look at this, out of the fog and into the wall, pushing them back. And he has 1 scholar, but he needs that scholar to get into the piety, to get into his researches. So if he pulls it out now, it's going to delay him. And this is the other funny part. After you get them off the gold line, torture. Delay them. It means they can't just come out when you're not here for a second to gather more gold.
Boy at arms.
Dude, the boy at arms is like it's the name I always give it. The boy at arms strat is genuinely seen as a coin flip in a lot of like scenarios, but I think actually stealth forest maps are where they're better, because if you spot this early on, you can build a defensive outpost. But that's the beauty of stealth forest. You can't spot it as easily. Oh.
Yeah, it looks like Capoch is forced to go all the way to the north side of the map.
Yeah, but the boy at arms are on their way. That just got scouted out. He's not even building an outpost first. Capoch doesn't have the wood for it.
Yeah, his income is very, very low for wood. Which I'm surprised because he pulled off his vills from gold back over to the wood line. So he must have spent time like making them walk over.
I think these boy at arms are just going to like take off their plastic armor for a sec. Pull down their khakis and take a dump on Capoch's early game here because he's moving in onto the second mining camp. And now he has to run away again.
And it sucks because that area, there's like 3 gold veins like really close to each other. So once he scouted at the 1, he can't even go over to the next 2.
Oh yeah, like if I'm Kasva, I'm considering pulling a villager to plop an outpost on the right and left side, because then you can't do anything. Like, oh great, you're going to try and counter me with scouts. You will eventually kill a boy at arms, yes, but these boys don't die fast, all right?
No.
They've been hard at the Twixers and the Snickers. They've been building up a lot of fat to protect them. They might be slow, but they're damn hard to hurt.
A little bit beefy boys. Yeah, I don't think 2 scouts is really going to be able to do anything. It looks like Capoch was making up putting up a tower, defend it just a little bit.
And Kaz has done this perfectly. Like he isn't going to sacrifice his own scalability. Look at his resources right now. He's likely to actually tech up ahead of Capoch at this rate.
Yeah, he's definitely a little bit ahead, and now Capoch is trying to micro, getting a little bit of gold, dropping it off, coming back. It's just...
he needs the scholar at some point. Like, these villagers are starting to get stinged a little.
Yeah. But he can't even get the gold to make the scholars.
But he has got 1 banked inside. Like, he's being very greedy. He doesn't want to sacrifice his tech timings. But here's the weird part. Like, this is what we call like that fallacy of like your greed. Like, oh yeah, I really can't afford to sacrifice my tech timings here. Yeah, but you already have. You should have had a Dome of Faith already being built before this. This delay hurts, and now the outpost. There it is.
Oof.
He could even dive in, actually. He can reach into these villages right now. The TC isn't close enough to protect.
Oh, he's going to try to go
Wait,
burn it down just a little bit.
Well, it takes 50% increased damage. It's going to force the fight. Outpost being built up behind this. That'll give the attack speed buffer over to the man-at-arms. There it is. Already now building his up. It didn't delay his timing at all, but he's already started to block out the gold. I wouldn't be surprised if Kasva crawls an outpost further north after this to block him off the gold. He'll be able to do that as well because the issue with what Capoch has done here, he built his outpost behind the gold. So there's nothing to stop Kasva from now putting an aggressive outpost that still reaches the workers there on the gold vein.
Yeah, exactly. He'll just be able to tower hop with his tanky boy at arms, which will, I'm sure, upgrade to men at arms pretty soon here. Like as we see, yep, there he goes.
This is
Hopping
substantial
forward.
damage, by the way. Like, look, when this is actually built up, it's going to be missing well over 1,000 HP. And here we go, reactionary outpost. Kasva needs to engage with that. If he lets it go up, it's going to allow him to block him out of blocking the gold, and that's why he moves in, strikes away, and pushes him away, dives in with the scouts, tanking the fire from the outpost. And that delays him too long. This outpost, even one villager, will now be able to go up.
Yeah, he has completely been blocked off from gold. He's trying to go back to the back wood line.
Some people are like, this looks kind of dumb, but like, let's be real. He's doing it against a Delhi player. Do you object?
Yeah.
We're 1 for you object, 2 for you don't. Let's be real here. There's going to be a lot more 2s than 1s.
Especially if you can do it. Oh, there's a wheelbarrow. Let's see. It hasn't come through yet.
There you go, the
for
crawl in.
Kasva.
The second one, so he's
Oh,
blocking
there it
wood
goes.
as well. Like, that's the other thing. Like, it's the goal, but this is the beauty of what Kasva done here. Not only does he block the wood, but the other cool thing is if he quickly garrisons when the scholars come out, the scholars are probably going to die to the outpost fire.
Right. Because it's not like they're going to come out that quickly. And I mean, even if he leaves just like one man at arms right there, they'll just be able to take him out rather quickly.
Okay, he at least gets a pie, so these boys are quite chunky. But you can see he's dedicating himself to trying to get to the villager. It's going to sacrifice his scouts. Both of them might be going down. I think Kasva's lost 1 boy at arms so far. Yep,
Oh,
I think I'd take that.
One's just standing there, minding his own business, enjoying nature.
Now, Kasva has been a little bit greedy because he's like, just in case I want to leave this villager on his own. But to get back to my point about him being greedy is if you check the left gold vein, Capoch has snuck back out there. So you should be able to get some gold. And that's going to allow him to unlock the scholars. This was maybe a mistake in the plan for Kasva. He didn't get the lombos out in time to guard there.
Yeah, it's completely open. He didn't leave the 1 man at arms there to burn down the mining camp completely either.
I did warn this could happen with the English. This isn't the way that most players are choosing to counter out the Delhi. The way that the most players are targeting it is like you get early outpost control in the central forest, and then you like kind of skirmish a bit, and then make your way towards castle. But when in Rome, when in a Kasva game, build outposts. Seems fitting.
More and more aggressive. There are longbows are making their way across the map. We have like 3 horsemen.
And the horsemen, like, they don't trade well 1-to-1. The goal here is you're looking to pull them back and heal them up with scholars afterwards. The problem is Kasva's starting to build up a massive lombos behind these boy arms. And by the way, they're not even boy arms anymore. They're early man arms. So they're teen arms again. A lot more chunky, added health. Makes them a lot harder to slay. And also, remember, they do get a little bit more damage. They've not got plastic swords anymore. They've been handed wooden swords.
Yeah, it looks like he won't be able to get up this other outpost, or will he, now that
He can go back for it.
Kasva's got some spearmen?
Yeah, the lombos should be able to kill it off. Villager survives.
She lives to see another day.
Good job, gal. Now get back in there and build my outpost. No, my lord, please.
Meanwhile, he's walled off another ville on her own.
Did he even make a gate? I don't think he even made a gate. It's just stuck in there.
She's just like, I'm gonna chop wood over here.
She's like, this is my new home. I accept
there
this
she
what
goes,
it is.
there
There
she
we
goes.
go. Palisade, make your way out. Maybe go back in, add another outpost. Nah, it's not worth it here. You just need to wrap around. Regroup with the other villager that's on Death's Dawn. The march north side is going to spot a lot of villies here. Lombo's targeting out. No textiles either, so Capoch is going to lose several. And that's a mistake. Like, textiles is very good for the Delhi. It only takes 25 seconds to research, and you don't have to pay for it. Oh my god, the reactionary outpost. He should have had this up sooner. Gonna pay a price.
Yeah, he's been
Longbows.
sitting out there for a while.
Ooh.
A little bit of trying to trade there, but the tanky men-at-arms aren't going to let that happen.
Now, Capoch did get a lot of gold off this, and he's up to 4 scholars, so he could break out soon. You have to remember that he has at least got control of his berries. It's like literally the only thing he has control of that can get his horsemen. So he should be able to move out for a Sacred Site or 2 at this rate. Kasva has to keep going Death Ball. Like, he can't slow down and think about castle anytime soon. Otherwise, he forfeits mid-map, and although you've delayed Capoch's timing, keep in mind that he heavily invested as well, so he delayed his own.
Right, because Capoch now has 5 scholars, so he's used quite a bit of gold on that.
Yeah, and of course those scholars, like at this stage, they're kind of reaching critical heal mass. The only way Kasva can deal with that is if he builds enough Lombos to start like one-hitting them. Otherwise, it's very difficult to put a dent in the scholar count.
And Kasva is sending out more horsemen right now.
Yeah, he's like, anything you can do, I can do too. I can do anything better than you. And it's kind of fitting here because the English now getting to farms, the farms have better gathering rates than the berries. Much better, actually. So the Delhi, while they're discounted and have to move out into dangerous territory, Kasva just sits at home and plays pat cake with each other around these farms. It's very safe.
Yeah. He's super safe in his area. He doesn't have any exposed gold or food where he's at. So I haven't even seen like a small raid come through.
Yeah, like Capoch, make no mistake, like he's at least out of the dark zone, the never-ending state of decay. But he's not recovered. Like he's far away from recovery right now because Kasva's fully engaging with him in here. And Kasva has a very healthy composite that counters anything that comes out in the field. Just he needs to reach his scholars. That's the X factor. If the scholars remain in the fights, it's good trades. If they die, rip.
Yep, the scholar's gonna hide now. He's up to 7 scholars.
Yeah, but look how quickly Kasva's bulking up now. This is the power of the English farms when they're online. Like, you exceed what Capoch can do, and you can recede. Like, even though he was later into building horsemen, he's almost caught up the numbers. And this is why Capoch has to take good trades. And right now, your village is being exposed. Idle ecoing right now is going to mean you don't have the income to replace. Look at his food. Barely able to afford villages.
Super, super low. Those berry bushes were vital for him, especially with the buff to getting those berries. But just like even delaying it right now, like, oh, it just looks, and now he's back down to 0. He's just like hovering at 30.
If you needed to understand like how rough Capoch's eco state is, consider that Kasva is diving in outposts in a situation where initially the fight he was outnumbered in, and he's playing up against Delhi with scholar healing. And yet he's still trading well because he can afford to throw these units away, get rid of yours, and replace them faster due to the infinite food the farms will give.
Yep. Coach just lost 1 scholar. Let's see if we can get a few more.
I'm kind of wondering where a lot of these scholars are. Like, we're seeing 1 or 2 on the screen. I think he still had some garrison inside the outpost, so they could have been healing there. And yeah, Lombos are threatening, but like it's 4 Lombos, yes. If your scholar dies to 4 Lombos, I would report him for AFKing in a game.
He's fast enough to run. They're like, they can be placed like pretty well too in what I've seen. And also it's like, once you get a horde, like we're saying, they just heal each other. They heal everything. I've seen games where absolutely ridiculous, but you have like 30 scholars.
Yeah. He's like, I call them the head patters. They just like patting each other, like, well done, guys. Yeah, look at us. We're healing each other. They're just cheering like, woo, we can't die. Infinite hell. It is really impressive. The crazy part, though, is if Kasva pulls like 5 cheap units and then pulls them inside that outpost, you saw the damage he done to 1 scholar. He could probably start killing them as they spawn.
Yeah. It looks like he stopped. He made 2 more outposts over in the area, but I think Capoch...
He's not stopping. He's going to the base. The wood line at the back. Capoch is in trouble there. It's a raid-in with the horseman. Backstab comes in into Capoch's base.
Oof.
And that's going to be several villages target down. They do at least have the textiles now by the looks of it, so it will last a long time. Still a costly idle situation because it's not just food you need for those horsemen, it's the wood as well.
And Kasva tried to deny wood, but all those sacred sites are already being taken.
Yeah, and this is where you can start to get the gold trickle. The cool thing about getting gold in this game for Capoch for free is you can actually trade it away. So if he does get blocked on wood or starts to run out of food because he can't access berries, it's not the end of the world. But make no mistake, folks, like Kasva's still ahead right now. This is only the beginning of the Sacred Site cap. Kasva still has you boxed in a lot of ways, and you're seeing that you're starting to hemorrhage villages because the scholars aren't really being dedicated to healing. It's kind of crazy to watch. Instead, he goes on the offensive, and Kasva, this was a greedy placement with the mill.
Ooh.
Now he has
Ooh,
wheelbarrow.
completely open.
He needs to move right now. Capoch was snitching on him. He had one horseman out here. He will back away, but look at that. The body block's coming out. Maybe gets 1 or 2 villagers. The rest should make it away to safety, and Kasva will learn an important lesson here. Don't go greedy. Don't go pocket eco when you're playing like this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, they're trying to come back out a little bit too early. Turn around, turn around.
Run, run. So Kasva's still relying on the outpost, but his military count is starting to shortchange. The horseman count is about to be with him, and that counts the archers. He just needs to keep death balling the horsemen, but having some of your farms missing like this from your gains is going to slow down the production rates. Finding a way though.
And now he's got to neutralize a sacred site as well. So
what? That's a rout. Capoch just sacrificed the archers for no reason. He just backed away entirely.
He lost a huge part of his military.
He just gave over military pop cap advantage to Kasva with that move. That was crazy. Like Capoch maybe had some injured horsemen in there. It looks like he wanted to buy time for the tech up. We are going to see the House of Learning coming out. This could be his one up. Kasva will need to recover fast or look to end the game quicker.
Interesting placement on his tech up. His next landmark. Is he just trying to draw attention away?
I think it's because he had people on gold. I think he was hard on gold, maybe. There isn't too many reasons other than, my base isn't my base anymore. So maybe that's the logic here. But like one issue I see with this play is Capoch made it very blatantly obvious that he was doing something else when he threw away the archers like this. And Kasva, like he's played enough games of Age of Empires 4 to know what a distraction force is. That's a distraction force. You're hiding something. And he needs to move in to find out exactly what that is.
Those towers are like really well placed, but they're just shooting the building instead of any of the units coming out.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like looking back at this game, I'd be curious to see if Kasva had banked like 5 scouts or just the cheapest thing you can get inside that outpost with the arrow slits. Could it have killed the scholars even party? Because if it could, like Capoch is very uncomfortable in this game. He doesn't have the healing force. Then again, like he hasn't really used the healing force that much so far.
Yeah, I've only seen him healing a few vills, and at one point there were like 3 scholars chilling on a sacred site. I don't know if they're still there, but they haven't been running around too much.
And I don't think this landmark is likely to be scouted out, or maybe speak too soon as he's raiding in. And if you do see this, you know exactly what your opponent's doing. Like he's already been pushing stables, so it makes sense he's going to get lances. What?
Will he spot him? Will he spot him? Turn around, turn around.
I love how the scholars are attacking, even though they can't attack. Like, get him! Just here for moral support as they rush the front line.
All the military's mobilizing. I think they're going to come try to help heal. Kasva, if he had been able to, obviously he can't see through the stealth forest, but if he had, he could have taken out all those scholars pretty quickly.
This is very similar to what Capoch has done. It's a throwaway force to distract. He's castling up now. So Kasva's not too far behind Capoch, but Capoch is at a stage where he could choose to switch into elephants, but I think it's not going to be Elephanto fun time. It's only going to be lances. We get very interesting matchups here, Jess, because on one side, you're going to have the home blades with the increased damage of 3, but on the other, well, the English can play knights as well. If they get their aura, their attack speed buffer can offset that damage increase that Capoch will get.
Yeah, definitely. And I think at this point, Capoch doesn't even have, like, if we even wanted to see elephants, the gold eco to support that.
Yes, it is. It's looking pretty pathetic
like,
still.
It's like it's been trickling in this whole time. Even though he secured all of his, pretty much 2 out of the 3 sacred sites are now neutralized. So he lost that. I don't see any relics being taken up quite yet.
Yeah, it was the midfield move by Kasva. Like, he wrapped south, he decapped the sites, then moved up north. And it was all, like, distraction. And now Kasva's walled himself in because he's like, fine, if this game has to go late, at the end of the day, I am the English. Like, I am England, and this is my city. And the beautiful thing about playing the English is if we're talking Imperial Age, you're already a pretty strong civ. You know what isn't a strong civ in Imperial? Yep.
I don't know.
The Delhi.
Enlighten me. Yeah, that's I would say it's just like a little bit slower for him to get to a point, whereas like with the English, like we've seen before today, the military that just gets pumped out of English players in Imp is way higher than what's going to happen with the deli, because if you look, he doesn't even have a significant amount of military buildings, and his keeps aren't as versatile. So even though he's dropping that keep, it's not going to build units like if an English keep drop would have.
Yeah, and you could at least like have a villager boom if you'd gone into the compound defenders here, because the cool thing about like when you go compound defenders is keeps are actually cheaper than town centers, and you can get village fortresses to turn them into town centers with double the health of a TC. Instead, this keep is like more strategically placed. Like any one that he places down isn't as much for like I'm gonna have another town center. It's I need this area to get my win condition, and the only way he wins now is if he forces a sacred site victory. If he allows this to drag out and stagnate, Kasva will reach into Imperial, and at that stage, there isn't really much you can do.
Right. I mean, how do you feel about his keep placement in the center? Like, it's not completely on top of the center sacred site. It's like over to the side, his keep. So
It's
I
the
don't know
choke
if it's
point
like
for him.
in range.
I think it's the choke point for the high ground. One thing I'm curious with Capoch, like he played a lot of AoE 4, so there's no way that he think it. I believe in AoE 2, if I'm not mistaken, you get is it increased range or damage? I think it's one of the two from being on high ground. I think it's damage. You don't get that in AoE 4. It's just a vision differential. And so being on that high ground with the keep doesn't serve a purpose other than extra vision. It does somewhat block the route towards the central sacred site, but if Kasva really wanted to decap that, he could just rush through with like 3 or 4 horsemen. Speaking of rush through of horsemen.
Yeah, he's trying to. He's just trying to get through that little palisade wall.
On both sides as well,
Oh,
so Kasva's there to guard. The Spearman will make short work of Capoch, especially on the defense when you have the attack aura.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's going to get a significant amount of kills here.
Yeah, he got pushed back to the choke point. He wasn't willing to throw away the troops to slow down the eco. I don't think it's a bad trade to make, considering that you're building multi-TC behind this.
Yeah.
Capoch has made the switch up, by the way, Jess. It is Zoo Tycoon time.
We are so ready. I'm so ready to see some larger animals on the map. I'm all about the animals. I think they're so cool. They're just like some completely slow. I mean, I remember playing like when I first saw the elephants, I was like, those are tanks. Those are going to be fun to use.
And it turns out they weren't tanks at all. They were more damage dealers than anything else. Because of the way you can use them. Like, they're just remarkably annoying to deal with. Oh god, jeez. Welcome to the documentary channel, folks. Horse versus elephant. Who is king of the jungle?
And we've already got his scholars hanging out. It's like a scholar, you know, if you have 2 or 3 scholars per elephant, those things are just like, they don't die.
And like one of the problems is that the English, they're not one like the S tier civs at dealing with the deli. So like actually funny one is if you get deli mirror matchups, like the going up against elephants is fun because you get force march and you can block them in. Instead, you need to like get loads of horsemen, swarm past them, and body block them. The only way you kill elephants fast is if they can't move.
Yeah, that's true. And I've seen too, like when they're making their way through someone's base, if they've created a base that's like very tight with the buildings, that almost helps because they can't weave their way through to get to any units.
Yeah, you can't min-match your damage. Like, you can't surround on all sides and stab with spears. Like, it's actually a brilliant point you bring up. Like, people are intentionally designing their bases now to leverage range compositions because when you're up against melee rushes, there's only so many units that can actually find that choke point. Like, a choke point between 2 racks, 2 to 3 units will be able to strike there from one angle. So if you just have, like, chunky units to the front line, like English, for example, could just have a few armor-clad men-at-arms holding there and, like, 20 crossbowmen behind them. And the cool thing about ranged in that format is all the range is attacking. If your opponent is doing a melee mosh pit, like 10 to 20% max are actually able to engage.
Looks like there's pushes on both sides. Both sides are trying to burn down different towers, kind of closing out the vision. But it looks like there's 2 trebs. I guess they're just trying to do their own thing.
The trebs are unguarded though. Like, Capoch has split up his troops quite a lot. The wraparound, the Spearman man-at-arms could burn both these down and make it worthwhile. All sacred sites capped. It looks like Kasva didn't complete the decap on the west side while he had an opportunity. Combos are going to be chased away. Easy pickers for the Lancers, but second wave of Spearmen coming in. Could turn it around here. Wololo. Okay.
Nothing.
They're already dead.
Empty bowl. Oof. Elephant roar.
Dude, they are beastly. They are angry. Like, who tickled me with an arrow?
Going in and out of his base. So it looks like Kasva's has, you know, his tanky units. But now that we're seeing the elephants, like, what do you think would be the best counter to, as like Capoch is just going to keep pumping him out? As we can see, like, his gold is a lot higher than it was before. His ego has kind of almost caught up. So I don't know what Kasva should do. They're carding.
So Kasva in this situation needs to take out this Vanguard here and rush out to decap the East Sacred Site, because the issue with Capoch is he has elephants. They are strong, but they're also slow. They can't easily defend all 3 Sacred Sites. After that, Kasva needs to start moving out slowly with keeps and outposts. Like, the network of castles will be what allows him to win fights. And while he's doing this, like, he wants to take reasonable trades that stagnate the game. If the game lasts longer, he can reach Imperial as his eco scales. He's about to crack triple digits, and he's already setting up the farms. Like, once these are online, Imp is achievable about 30, 31 minutes. But first of all, you need to decap the Sacred Sites to remove that pressure, because we're 8.5 minutes away from a daily victory.
Yeah, and it looks like Kasva doesn't have any stone income coming through anyway. So even if you wanted to drop a couple more keeps, that would just be something I think that he's probably saving for the end game. Or he's more focused on trying to neutralize that Sacred Site, which is what we were looking for.
I'm wondering actually what's going on with stone, because he never harvested all of his stone in his base, so he should actually still have some in reserve. And a keep drop here could block out the elephants entirely, and a keep drop from Capoch could allow him to crawl in. The trebuchets are going to begin to reach into the eco lines of Kasva, so he needs to think about this fast. He's going to need some sort of ample defense to delay the game. The only reason I can think he doesn't want to build keeps is because his opponent already has trebuchets, but Capoch is slow. He's stopped at 2. This isn't a quick blitz of anything you build.
Yeah, I think, like, you know, having 2 trebs, like, if you have just enough military to go around the side, or even a few cav, you can burn them down pretty quickly, because Capoch has left them kind of vulnerable several times already. So there have been windows for those to get burned down.
Push out. 1,000,001 spears. Kasva with the Zerglings here, making their way in. The elephant standing their ground. That's going to give the damage over. There's also the attack auras here. It's going to push them back. Man-at-Arms wave following this up. Retreat comes out, blocks out the keep, and slaughters the villagers before they can complete their piece of art. Lombos do need to target them, though, to make sure that's the case. In fact, Kasva with the misclick, targeting out aggressive military units instead of eco units, might give the keep. It's going to be tight. Capoch gets it up and pushes Kasva in.
Oh, that was so close. That was so close. I didn't think he was going to get it up.
I mean, the crazy part is he wouldn't have if Kasva had used the Lombos to target the villagers. He was attacking different targets, and the issue with this is his spearmen were making up the vast majority of units attacking villages. Their little pokey sticks are pretty effective up against cavalry. Not so great against textiled villagers.
No, I just, like, their aim maybe not be the best.
Well, are you suggesting they're like the stormtrooper variety of melee units here?
Yeah. I'm not going to say, they might not be my favorite unit, but for that reason.
And here's what we were highlighting that Kasva could do, the Imperial that was going to come around the 30 minutes. And there it is, like, in timing, the 29-minute mark I was talking about. And he gets away with it because the decap on the right side. Like, Capoch actually had him by the gonads here, just need to squeeze. And the way he squeezed pressure, like, he wasn't doing it from a position of power. He wasn't like, haha, I have full control of this game, because he never blocked in the right side. Imagine this game right now if Capoch had stonewalled the right side of Kasva's base. He doesn't have a choice but to fight you at the front.
Yeah, I think we haven't seen, like, too much utilization of stone walls or heavy walls. But I mean, the nice thing with the deli is that if he does have the upgrade, his military can do it right there for him.
Yeah, and now Capoch is on the clock. He needs to end this game in the next 3 minutes before Kasva gets full Imperial value. Remember that Kasva is pop capped. He threw away that army, but look how quickly it's been rebuilt. It's back to play again.
Super quick. There are a couple spring golds coming out. Oh, they're targeting the
They're taking out the scholars, but he's not. Oh my god, he's still healing the elephant, so he will start losing them.
Ooh.
Also, important detail here, Kasva's yet to get network of citadels. That is a heavy loss of potential damage in these fights.
I wonder if
string
he's
ults.
noticed. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it only takes 45 seconds, and you probably wouldn't have been able to make this keep last long enough. Instead, it's going to be going down, and you really want to get this attack speed buffer. It's big. The spear I think, the man-at-arms get the full value. They actually get the entire 50% increase in attack speed. It's a big deal.
Yep. And now Capoch has the ability to build up this second keep.
It's a staging point, but Capoch still needs to end this game in the next few minutes. Like Kasva, his eco is still running on the backside, and he's not running out. Also, keep in mind that even wood is going to be accessible because what are you doing here? Like, you're condensing attention on the north side, so you can sneak around to the east side, and he's still got a bunch of clustered woodlands back there that he can use to sustain his eco.
Right, and he can even pull his bills outside onto the edges, like even to a back corner, which hasn't been scouted. So that's just like another advantage that he has.
Right in. Capoch just looking for clear targets. The goal could be a pristine one.
Or not.
However, the farms
There it
matter a
goes.
lot now as well because we are talking about English with enclosures. So even if you stop their gold vein, that doesn't stop them getting gold.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I think when he chased them through the fields, that helped a lot more than before, than just going straight for the gold, pushing them off.
I wonder if Capoch feels like he got value out of home blades in the end. Because if you think about the way these fights have been decided, it's not really much by the Lancers. It's more to do with the keeps. And at this point, he's actually built 3 keeps. If he had compound defenders, he'd have the additional resource for a 4th already. Actually, sorry, no, it's 4 keeps, right? So like that, he would have saved 800 stone, which is a keep and a third. Because compound defenders makes them cost 600 stone each.
Right. Yeah, it would put in a significant advantage because he still has like quite a few vills on stone trying to gather that up.
Massacre continuing, but Capoch still behind economically. Something I'm curious about, like, has he even started getting village fortresses? No, he hasn't. That's kind of bonkers. He could have had village fortresses by now. He's had that keep in the center so long. If he set up a mosque behind it, Wi-Fi gets activated, as my friend Lidakor would say. And that would allow you to quickly make your way into the boiling oil, into the village fortresses. Missed opportunity.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And he's losing a lot. Like, as his military is trickling in, he's got quite... I don't see a proxy base that close. So, you know, it's taking time for his military to cross the entire map. He has neutralized, or has gone back and gotten all the sacred sites again, but I think we've seen Kasva can quickly just neutralize one of those with a few spearmen.
It's kind of crazy how much value Kasva's getting by throwing his lombos between several keeps, but it's actually pushing back everything long enough that the trebuchets are killing you off.
Yeah. Exactly. They're brave. Brave. They're
Dude, that's
brave
some scholar hate right
longwomen.
there. That is some scholar hate. Like, he's literally just chasing scholars right now.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they like went white for a second. No, they just have their shiny armor.
Capoch just wishes he was an hero right now and could get crossbows to deal with his man-at-arms. Like, he doesn't do anything against them.
No, he does not have the eco to come back from this. Like you said, it's just like that Imperial push, like those keeps are going to go down in a second.
Yeah, and the sacred site victory is praying for like 8 minutes. 8 minutes to go, and there's already a keep on the right side. And remember, English keeps can actually build units, so you can just build like one knight and decap that sacred site.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
He doesn't even need to. Yeah, there you go. He doesn't really distinctly need to sneak like this, but he'll do it anyway. And after that, if you look at Capoch's numbers, you highlight it. He doesn't have the eco. Look at his food. Look at his food.
It's extremely low. It's like at half of Kasva's. So the amount of recovery time too, like Kasva can afford to like continue pushing units right there. His base is a lot closer, and now his trebs are just gonna start coming out as the English does.
Capoch is a small wood boy right now, and it's because he's spending so much wood on farms. He actually sold a bunch of gold to get the wood to keep this alive. The problem is, you're up against the English. They have a Windguard Palace, and you aren't sniping trebs anymore. So this starts to snowball. Like, it compounds. They go up to 5, 6, 7 trebs. You can't hold any of these keeps anymore.
Yeah, you can't. Even if, like, there's nothing... He doesn't have a strong enough military to defend, even if he comes out with, like, more siege.
It's So the play for Capoch right now could just be to leverage more Lancers. The Elephants have got up to 6, but they're really not getting the value he's looking for. The slow siege isn't working alone. But he's still opened the floodgates into Kasva's base. So if he splits up Lancers and starts raiding in, like this kind of situations, he can shut down the eco and maybe find a point of recovery.
Yeah, exactly. Although I think that gates, his little opening, is going to close pretty quickly as that Treb is taking out that last keep.
That one man at arms, like he's that cheeky git we all know, right? The guy who trolls in a game of Age of Empires 4. He keeps walking out that sacred side like, I don't think so. Nice sacred site victory condition you just triggered. Be a shame if someone was to take a dump on it.
He's in active stance though. He's like, this is my sacred site.
Because he feels
His
like a
sword is
champion.
raised. His sword is raised over his head.
Can we just highlight how this game began with men at arms ruining Capoch's potential to win this game? This game continues on the basis that men at arms are ruining Capoch's way of winning this game.
They are the long game unit. Like, they lasted the whole time. I wonder if he has one that survived the whole time.
It's hard to tell, but it wouldn't surprise me. Damn, can you imagine we had random stats like that added in? Like, this unit has survived for 20 minutes. I don't know why we do it. There you go, new mechanic, age. When units live too long, they just die. Don't put me on a design team. Don't put me on a design team.
No. We'd all be like 30 minutes in and be like, why are all my units dead?
Just looking for interesting ideas, guys. Men at arms moving in. This is an interesting fight for Capoch to try and take. That spread out is going to be problematic. Spearman follow up as well. Skull's being targeted down, and he stands on the spot. You need to be careful. The wraparound is going to start to pinch you. The elephants cannot run away, and now the first line is going to flop down dead. Plenty of ivory to be gained up here. The English do love their ivory. If there's anything I know about the history of Africa, it's that. And there is plenty of tusks to be gathered up here. Half of the elephant army gone just like that.
It doesn't even matter that they're under the reign of the keep. They're still going after those 3 elephants, and I think this Treb is quickly going to be burned down as well.
That's the
Gonna
crazy
lose his
part.
entire reign.
Like, Kasva has literally spent this entire game diving keeps. He doesn't care. Because he can afford it, and he knows Capoch cannot. Like, Capoch, look at the eco comparison. He's almost tripling up the food income. Wood is double.
It is rough.
And gold is almost double.
Yeah.
The little elephant that could. Live, Dumbo, live. Get out of this game and make a Disney movie. You're better off that way.
Scholar going down. I think like some of the men-at-arms are just literally running around trying to find any row scholars.
I just love how when skulls get attacked like that, they stick their fists up as if they're going to fight back. Like, you pacifist, and then you just club them with a sword further.
I know. They even have like a walking stick, right? That they could technically use.
No. Passive lifestyle. You heal, you help, right? This is what's that war movie with the guy that like he refuses to carry a weapon, he only heals people.
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Hacksaw Ridge. He's the guy from Hacksaw Ridge. Brilliant movie if you haven't seen it.
I have not seen it. It'll be added to my long list. Ooh, it looks like Cass was just pushing in towards like the second base that he made.
Spoiler alert, I will say that more people's lives get saved in Hacksaw Ridge than will be saved by scholars in this game. I genuinely feel like the scholars have barely done anything in this game. Which is not something you say, Delhi. Yeah, they failed this city. They can't hold the breach anymore. Capoch can't hold the game. Kasva is going to get the GG out of him. A 2-0. Kasva will proceed through to day number 2 of week 3 of the road to Red Bull Wololo.
Oof. Scholars failed their own community. Yeah, look at that. Look at those stats.
Oh, yeah. That. I mean, look, this is the crazy part. Kasva just threw away his army to delay the game. The later it goes, the better it gets. Like, this is the most obvious matchup as well. Like, if you ask every player which civ they don't think can play Imperial, this is number 1 on the list. It just takes too long to get your tech ups, so you can't do it at all. And it's why Delhi was on the clock. That's why he was rushing in with the keeps. That's why Kasva just didn't care. He just kept throwing crap at the situation to delay the game. And It worked out remarkably well
Mhm.
because he delayed so much of the early game. The Deli missed their power spike. This is a Civ that usually booms around 40 minutes in and is oppressive in the game. No opportunity as such given, though, due to the boy arms rush from Kasva.